everyone, and welcome to this week's video. This week I thought I'd take the time to actually sit back and do a little bit of colouring in. Now this tote design was actually done as a part of my Enchanted Forest Kickstarter and is available up on the store in case you are interested. They are tote designs that are printed on recycled tote bags, and they are done with an ink press, and they are perfect for colouring in. Someone recommended to me a while ago when I customised my denim jacket that I would be able to use Posca pens. Posca pens, of all things. Not only are they good on wood, glass and different textiles, I never thought about colouring in clothing with them. So I thought I'd sit back, relax after watching a few videos and a few tutorials on how to colour in with Posca pens on fabric. And that sounds really silly, but when there's always a risk that something can go drastically wrong, especially when colouring in on fabric, I always like to double make sure that I know what I'm doing. You can colour in on fabrics using Poscas. Poscas can be quite expensive, and you can do this with other acrylic pens as well. Essentially what you do is you colour in on your design, turn it inside out, iron in the back. If you want to put a protective coat on, which I did afterwards, I put a sealant on top just so that it was a little bit more protected, and there you are. You are absolutely fine. At the end of this, I do actually show the end results after a few weeks of using the tote design and ironing it and washing it, just to show you how it looks after about a few weeks worth of wear. So I actually coloured this in a few weeks ago. When you get in the Posca pen, first thing you got to do is activate that ink, and it takes forever. And it doesn't take forever, actually. It only takes like a minute or so, but you're shaking the barrel to activate and pushing the nib down. This allows your ink to activate. You don't want to over push it, don't do a me here, because this can cause far too much ink to flow out. But my suggestion is always test your products before you use them. The one thing I dislike about acrylic pens, and it is something that I've noticed across most acrylic pens, is the amount of plastic that is not recyclable on it, just because each pen is individually wrapped, and I just think it's a bit too much. If that plastic was made of recyclable materials, it would make me feel a little bit better about them. I actually ended up having to purchase a few Posca pens while I was doing this project. I actually purchased them from Cult Pens, not affiliated, not sponsored, but the pens worked out to about £2 to £3 per pen, and I was like, this is a gold mine, get them all in my basket, this is amazing. But you know, I digress. Essentially, I'm creating this pattern on here, melding in the colours while the colour is still wet, allowing another colour to lay on top to create the gradients and effect that I was after. Merely going down with a darker colour and then lighter colour on top to create the desired effect that I wanted. I'm not a massive user of Poscas or acrylic pens. I'm still fairly new to them, so this was a lot of experience for me to try out. So who is this character? This is a character that was done as a part of my Enchanted Forest colouring book, and the idea is that this is a spirit guide throughout the forest. I like the idea that travellers who originally got lost, their spirits are trapped within the forest, and they help other travellers through the forest journey safely through there, giving them safely, pointing out places that they personally did not through, and they are an amalgamation of the forest itself. So you can see that this creature is made up of loads of different leaves and different plants that are within the forest. So I like to think that the lantern is there, and if you tap the lantern, say in a special way, it would cause the spirit to arise and create a guide for you throughout the forest. This particular spirit is the fox spirit, and there is a few different types of animals that would be around there. There would be badgers, hedgehogs, birds, there would be bears even, lots of different creatures that would be made of the forest itself for those spirits who still wander, trying to help the travellers not make the same mistakes that they did. And this was sort of an idea that I had as I'm very much into folklore and different sort of ideas. And I was actually really inspired by a scene in Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, where they have this sort of like lantern creature. It's a yokai that is like this very has this bird-like leg and bounces through with this lantern, from what I remember. And it was sort of an inspiration to me to think, okay, so are there guides that help you through the forest, and what would be their story? And this is sort of how this came about. I really like this, and I really want to do like a mini comic on this. I just think it's such an enchanting idea to me, of this sort of like fox guide that would travel through. And I actually have done a quick doodle in my sketchbook, and there is some doodles up in the Enchanted Forest sketchbook of how the lantern and the spirit comes about. I just think it's such an interesting idea, and it just, I don't know, I'm fascinated with it. It's also one of those, like, the thing I like about it is everyone can have a different interpretation of this spirit that helps guide lost travellers through the forest, because they don't want them to make the same mistake that they did. I just think it's very, I don't know, I just really like it. When I was colouring this, I was thinking autumnal colours, mainly because I'm obsessed with an autumnal palette, and I have seen other people colour them in different ways, using different colours, and I think it's really fascinating to see how people would colour this. I've seen people use greens and blues, someone used mainly browns, and it's fascinating to see what people would do. I in particular used a lot of reds and a lot of oranges. I really wanted to capture that fox aesthetic, while still trying to keep it very true to like leaves and autumnal feeling to it. This is actually one of my favourite tote bags. I have a few blank tote bags that I'm totally thinking of just designing some tote bags at some point and just having fun with colouring in with Poscas. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that as well. Since we've already got line work here, it makes it a lot easier for it to colour in. But with the actual designing of a tote bag where maybe we're using simplified shapes, or maybe we're using different materials and showing how each material would work on a canvas bag, let me know, because I'm always excited to try out new products. I actually picked them up a while ago because I have some transfer paper where I'd been experimenting in making my own tote bags. However, they don't tend to be as sturdy as I would like, unfortunately. They're good for a good base. Other than that, not much else. After a bit, I was getting fed up of doing each individual leaf, so I put down a very quick base of colour. So this was my base colour that I was going to build up. Not necessarily that it was going to end up this dark, but this was my darkest shade of colour. This is a way so that I can actually look upon the design, look at my darkest shade, and build up to the lighter shade. This really helped that I put down a quick colour. Yes, it's a little bit patchy, but the whole idea was that the base colour was there so that we could build up. And you can see it's slowly starting to take shape. So why acrylic pens and not acrylic paints? I'm not a massive fan of acrylic paints, if I'm honest. I just do not gel with them at all. I've tried them a few times and it just doesn't suit my work. Maybe if I had a lot more practice, I would feel a lot more confident with them. But every time I use them, I just feel inferior. I do not like it. It does not suit my art style. But, you know, some people do amazing work with acrylics. And this is sort of like a happy medium for me. Acrylic pens give me a lot of the control of alcohol markers that I like. I love control with my equipment. And I'm very much used to using pens. So when I found out about acrylic pens and what you can do with them, I did a lot of research, and I found out that I honestly really enjoy using them, and I will be using them a lot more. I'm thinking of doing a redesign of my denim jacket. at some point. I need to get a denim jacket. I'm going to have to keep on looking out in charity shops when they are open, if I'm in town, just to double check to see if they do have one in. I actually haven't been to a charity shop in ages, of course with everything that's been going on, but I really want to get another denim jacket. I'm not paying full price for something that I'm just going to be decorating myself, plus it's recycling at the end of the day. I want to try it out with Poscas, because now that I've tried it, you know, on fabric with Poscas and not acrylics, I find myself, you know, wanting to try more. You can see here I've actually pinned it down, and this is pinned down onto an old canvas board that I've had for absolutely ages, which has got some very, very old art on it, so that the artwork and the fabric wouldn't shift. I'm using bulldog clips just to clip it down, and this also protects the under part of the fabric from getting damaged as well, in case ink soaks through. You're going to have that happen if you're especially like me and very heavy handed sometimes with the paints or acrylics or acrylic pens. It can happen, you know, just a little bit of, you know, hello there. It pops through. So this is actually recommended if you are going to be working with fabrics. Always put something underneath, just so you don't get, you know, a little bit of bleed onto the back fabric, unless that is something that you are after. Sometimes you can create some really beautiful effects with that. Just putting some final touches, deepening like certain areas that I want it to be deepened, and it really took shape at this point. Like, I was really happy with it at this point. Trying to replicate the illustration that I'd done for it, which is the foil illustration, was really, really happy with that. And then this neon orange, just chef's kiss. Just absolutely beautiful. Really, really enjoyed it. Overall was just very happy with the finalized design, and kind of tempted to do a spring version of this, because we have a very autumnal version of this fox. Maybe we should do like different versions of the spirit fox, of the forest, to show different seasons. That would be really fun. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think and what you would like to see in the future. I'm always looking for feedback. I'm trying to break out of the standard videos at the moment and try to do something a little bit different. Just for my personal preferences, I've noticed that I watch a lot of studio vlogs lately and a lot of behind the scenes. Maybe I should show a little bit more behind the scenes of what I do. I know drawing videos is what I'm known for, and it's what I really enjoy doing, but sometimes it's good to mix up a little bit of content, show the behind the scenes. Next thing I did was the glow in the dark acrylic paint. Now, I have used this in the past, and it's not my favourite acrylic paint to use, but unfortunately the other glow in the dark paint that I've got has dried out, and it is one that I actually do prefer. I would recommend, if you are using the glow-in-the-dark paint, you're gonna want to do a lot of coats. I had to dry this layer in between while I was painting the glow-in-the-dark paint. I think in the end it had 8 coats of glow-in-the-dark on it. And if you're walking through at night, after you've walked around with this bag in the day, it has this beautiful glow on there, and it works. If that makes any sense, it works. So here is the finalized product. I had a little bit of gold onto the background just to make that color pop a little bit more, and you can see this is how it is after 2 washes, an iron, and after several weeks of using it. So surprisingly, it stands up extremely well. So I recommend this. If you want the colors to stay, iron the back of it. Also, make sure you spray a bit of an adhesive on top to protect the coating. To show you again what the original bag looks like, it is just line work. That is it. And the reason why I did this was so that people could colour it in themselves and customise and make their own tote bag the way that they wanted. How would you have your spirit guide throughout the forest? I really, really enjoyed this project, and it is something that I recommend to anyone. But first, let's feature some of your amazing work that you have been doing through Witchtober. I made a Witchtober prompt list, and you all have been absolutely smashing it. It's such a delight to see everyone's work. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Maybe like, comment, and if you're new, subscribe if you wish to see more content. But I hope you have a lovely week, and as always folks, stay creative.